We use different types of health radars. Sometimes we make our custom ones. In the transformation deck, I share pictures of that. We've actually done custom radars for Agility Health Radar for Flow. We just haven't taken those out public. They probably need to be honed based on our latest findings and learnings. But the idea and the concept is there, and these are extremely useful for measuring the health of individuals, teams, programs, and even portfolios, which is what I'm demonstrating on this slide here. That uh, the picture that you see in the left on the team level, that's a team level radar where you can measure how is the team doing, and there's ways to read that, and it's a very powerful tool. And then we would use the flow radars for the product and portfolio parts of the transformation boxes. So, when you're thinking about transformation and the pursuit of excellence, the pursuit of excellence has to happen everywhere in all four boxes at the same time if you're ever going to have the hope of transforming your organization. We put some fun pictures here on this slide where you've got the at the individual level, it's autonomy, mastery, and purpose. And you'll see the guy there with the halo, and it's sort of like, what does my family think that I do at work? And so these are the individual tasks and things that I get done each day. If you have ever worked with a team and you're a team level facilitator, you know you feel like the plate spinner at the circus, and you're juggling not just the team's needs, you're juggling the team needs of the stakeholders and a lot of people in the organization. So if you're able to keep the plates going, the longer and faster that you can have those plates going, the higher the odds are that you're going to succeed. Now, when you get into Agile coaching, which is one step up from the Scrum Master that you saw there in the lower left corner, up in the upper right corner, when you become an Agile coach, there's that expectation that you're going to be able to part the waters and lead the people through on dry ground. And so you're going to have to raise your game to a much higher level in order to be a good Agile coach. When you get to enterprise Agile coaching level, that's when you become an Agile superhero, and you're able to break through the barriers in the organization and knock down the silos and really help the organization to make the changes that they need to make in order to be able to succeed. By the way, if you have already seen the transformation video series, Transformation Using Flow, the next three slides, the audio comes directly from that. And so you can fast forward to the 17 tiles on the transformation slide. So you can skip the next three slides. For the flow leadership, on the left-hand side of this is the people portion. And we've got the first triangle with the mental, physical, and social, with the person's vision, spirit in the middle. And this has a very interesting base and starting point. This was first brought forward by Ted as early as 1972. And he used it to take a insurance company that was losing $500,000 a year, and he turned it around and ended up, I think it was, they were doing $4.5 million in sales. So it was a $5 million turnaround for that agency. And so the company just loved him. And he used this with his salespeople and, excuse me, with his staff. And he used it to breathe life into people. And so when you look at it, it's pretty straightforward. Your mental part is your thoughts, your ideas, your right truth. That's 4R model. Physical is literally your physical health and your physical capabilities. And the social part, that's the relational part. That's the networking part. That's the person's ability to interact with other people. And when you look at this from a, for example, project viewpoint, we used to teach in classic project management that communications was 80% of everything we do in projects. Well, these days, communications is 95%, especially when you take Agile, Lean, Kanban, and all these other things into consideration. The 4R model here is for the people. We've talked about that previously. And then we combine the two triangles, okay? And so the mental aligns with right truth and distilling your right values and attitudes. The physical is when you take the abstract thought and turn it into physical action. And then right results, if you're getting right results, that's going to help you socially and relationally. And it's the relational social part that keeps those two sides of the triangle up. If that breaks, the sides of the triangle fall flat. As always, we have the transformation box in the middle, the 4 lenses there, or the 4 main tiles, individual, team, product, and organization. We have the AHA curve that we use for both people, teams, the product program level, and the organization level. And then for the teams in the organization, we have a mirror image of the original model Ted had for people. We have that for the team, where you have business knowledge, tools and technology, and relationships communication at the top. We also use vision, strategy, people, and tasks here for the team level. And then we had one additional box here, or one additional triangle actually, and it's one mind, one language, one mind, one plan. Okay? If you're all speaking the same language, it's easier to get everybody on the same page, which makes it easier to plan and deliver. But if the language is confused, guess what? You're going to have problems. And so we took those 2 triangles, combined them together, and put them over the 4D model that we talked about before with define, distill, deliver, and drive. And then you have the one language is coming from the business knowledge side. The one mind needs to be distilled over on the tools and technology side so that they can deliver the tools and technology we need to succeed. And then the drive is the one plan and making sure that everybody's still on the same page. We didn't get too much into languages of leadership versus language of management. We go more into depth on that in our Flow Certified Professional Training. But very simply, as you looked at what we used in Cascading Vision with the different levels there, the upper levels, and that line in the middle can move. It might be as high as senior management. It might be down below project management. It's not a hard and fast line. It's just there for demonstration purposes and to keep it symmetrical. But in those upper boxes, there's what we call the language of leadership. And then definitely by the time you're down to project level, you're definitely into the language of management. And those are 2 different languages. And so if you look at the right 2 boxes with individual and team, those are clearly language of management. When you get into the product box, that's probably evenly split between language of leadership and language of management. And then in the organization box, at the leadership levels, guess what? That's the language of leadership. If you've ever listened to the executives speak with each other, you'll notice that they're communicating almost in a completely different code. It's a pattern, it can be learned, and if you want to be a really great project, program, or portfolio manager, you need to learn to speak the language of the leadership in your organization. And that includes knowing when to put your Agile coaching hat on and when to put your management consulting hat on, because we need to understand, are the executives looking at this from an innovation perspective, or are they looking at this from an operational excellence perspective? And how do we help them know and understand when it's time to do creative destruction for the existing operational excellence structures and processes that may already exist? As always, we have the 4 box for transformation in the middle there. And here I just had this, the people that I like working with, people who dream big, people who get things done, people might be familiar with GSD, and people who have fun, and the sweet spot is there in the middle. Life's short, work is hard, you might as well work with something where you're having some fun, okay? We talked about cascading vision and cascading the VSBT, cascading the one thing, and creating the link back to the next level up from the level below with the one thing that they need in order to succeed. And we also talked about culture and the elements of culture, including vision, mission, purpose, core values and attitudes, strategies, goals and objectives, where that's basically going from really abstract ideas down to more concrete ideas. And last but not least, in flow leadership in a nutshell, and this is used often by the teams, the flow friction analysis. If we're seeing anarchy on a team or project, man, they probably have the wrong vision. If we're seeing anxiety in the team, or that the team members are anxious, that probably means that there's probably at least one person who's not the right fit for the team, and we need to figure out who that is. If there's confusion, most likely is because they didn't do their definitions. And if there's politics, without exception, that means that there's no agreement. And if there's chaos, that just means that the team's unable to deliver. And if there's division, then most likely, once again, that means that they're not able to drive because there's no vision, or there's multiple visions. So that's basically flow leadership in a nutshell. Feel free to print these out. There's copies of this floating around the net. And remember, these don't do any good in the books or in the presentations. You need to take them, print them out, start using them in your teams, in your projects, in your programs, in your portfolios. And I guarantee you, if you start doing that and you do it consistently, and you follow what we've taught, you follow the path, you follow the patterns, most of the time, on the average, you're going to come out ahead. So that would be my encouragement to you, is actually give this a try. It works. This isn't theory. We've done this for over a quarter of a century, over 25 years. Ted and I worked on honing this, and we've done project after project, case after case. By the way, I've recorded another series on why use flow, and it lays out all of the business cases why you would want to use flow. I can't imagine a single company or a single individual or a single team or any organization that wouldn't want to use flow in order to take everyone to the next level of performance and to try to get everybody moving the same direction and loving it. Actually, for this deck, the last slide was not last but least. We've got a couple more slides to go through. As I shared in the transformation deck, this slide was about 10 minutes long, and it shows the 17 tiles or areas or plates, if you prefer the plate spinner metaphor, that you would need to keep in motion if you're going to do a successful transformation. And you cannot scale Agile or do any kind, probably, of any kind of transformation without keeping all of these areas in mind. So they go hand in hand. It's not an either or, it's a both and. And as I shared all throughout all the presentations, you can't transform in one of the four areas: individual, team, product, or organization. You can't just focus on one area, do some scaling or transformation, and believe that you're actually done. It doesn't work that way. So take the time to use all of the elements of flow in what you're doing. And so whether you're working at the team level, you can be successful. Whether you're working at the product program process line management level, you can be successful. And especially if you're working at the organizational level from portfolio and above, this works. This will deliver to you what you need in order to succeed. So this works. We've been doing this for a quarter of a century. This is well honed, and you need to think seriously about, hey, is this something that I can actually use in my organization? Reach out to me, let's chat, we'll talk. I can give you case after case after case after case across multiple industries, showing you that yes, this is going to work in your organization. We've seen this over and over and over and over again. So I'm not going to take any more time on this slide, but don't hesitate to reach out to me and let's chat.